Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. All stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands. Thank you. Madam Secretary, will you please do a roll call?
Commissioner Leo,
Here.
Commissioner Escamilla, Commissioner Ramos,
Present.
Commissioner Olivia,
Here.
Commissioner Wu,
Here.
Vice Chair McLaughlin,
Present.
Chair Pham. Vice Chair, you have quorum with Commissioner Escamilla and Chair Pham absent.
Thank you. Before we begin, I would like to remind my fellow commissioners to turn their microphones on when speaking and off when not speaking. And when speaking, please place the microphone within 4 inches away from you. Thank you. Members of the public may attend Planning Commission meetings in person or virtually via Zoom. I now invite the Commission Secretary to describe the way the public can access and participate in this meeting.
This meeting is being live streamed via our portal, www.santa-anna.primegov.com/public/portal, and to YouTube at www.youtube.com/City of Santa Ana videos. If you would like to provide a public comment, you may do so in the following ways. Join the meeting via Zoom. Enter meeting ID number 8858669177. When the item you would like to comment on is being discussed, select the hand icon to let us know you would like to speak. You will be called upon by the name you've entered. You can also join the meeting by calling 669-900-6833. Enter meeting ID 8858669177. When the item you would like to comment on is being discussed, press *9 to let us know you would like to speak. You will be called upon by the last 3 digits of your phone number. After you are called upon, you may press *6 to unmute yourself. For those who are attending this meeting in person and would like to provide public comment, please fill out a request to speak form and turn it into the secretary. All speakers will have 3 minutes to speak, and I will alert you when your time is up.
Okay, I'd like to make note that Manny was here at 5:34. All right. Moving on to public comments on non-agenda and non-public hearing items. Secretary, does anyone wish to speak on a non-public hearing item?
If you are attending this meeting in person and would like to comment on non-agenda or non-public hearing items, please fill out a request to speak form and turn it into the secretary. If you are participating via Zoom and would like to comment on non-agenda or non-public hearing items, please select the hand icon and unmute yourself. If you are calling in and would like to comment on non-agenda or non-public hearing items, please dial *9 and then *6 to unmute yourself. I will wait a few seconds. Chair,
Thank
we
you.
do not have any speakers.
Moving on to the consent calendar. One motion for all consent unless items are pulled in separate discussion. Is there a motion to approve item A, minutes from the March 13th, 2023 meeting, and item B, excused absences?
I move.
Second. Okay, we have a move by Commissioner Wu and a second by Commissioner Leo. Madam Secretary, can we have a roll call vote?
Commissioner Leo,
Aye.
Commissioner Escamilla,
Aye.
Commissioner Ramos,
Aye.
Commissioner Olivia,
Aye.
Commissioner Wu,
Aye.
Vice Chair McLaughlin.
Aye.
Motion approved by majority.
Okay. That concludes the consent calendar. Moving on to the business calendar session. I would like to review the process for the public hearing so that everyone knows what to expect. Staff will provide a presentation and answer questions from the commission. The public hearing will be opened. The applicant will be given the opportunity to speak, limited to 15 minutes. Members of the public will be given an opportunity to comment, limited to 3 minutes. The application will be given, will be given the opportunity to, the applicant will be given the opportunity to respond to the comments made by the public, limited to 5 minutes. The public hearing will be closed. Discussion will return to the commission for formal action taken to approve, deny, or continue review of the application. Please consider the following suggestions when organizing your comments. Please state your name and address. State whether or not you support, oppose, or are neutral to the proposal. Your statement should include all pertinent facts within your knowledge. Please note, the decision on this matter is final unless appealed within 10 days by the interested individual or party. Recommendation on this item will be forwarded to the city council at a later date for final determination. This is the time and place for the public hearing of item number 1, conditional use permit number 2023-04 for the property located at 1330 East 17th Street, located within the planned shopping center zoning district. Before we begin, do any of the commissioners have anything they would like to disclose with regards to this item? May? Leo? Olivia?
No
Nope.
disclosures.
Okay, thank you very much. With that, we're going to turn it over to Ally first because she's going to do an introduction on Matthew. So go ahead.
Thank you, Vice Chair, and good evening, members of the Planning Commission. I'm pleased to introduce you to Matthew Kilroy. He's an assistant planner with the Planning Division. Matthew earned his bachelor's degree in history from Cal State Fullerton and his master's degree in urban and regional planning from Cal Poly Pomona in the year 2021. He started with us as a part-time planning technician and then was promoted to full-time assistant planner. We're very pleased to have him presenting the project tonight, so thank you.
Go ahead, Matthew.
All right, thank you. Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. Thank you for welcoming me. To sum up the item before you, Target Corporation is requesting approval of conditional. There you go, cool. All right, so the Target Corporation is requesting approval of conditional use permit number 2023-04 and approval to make a determination for public convenience or necessity, a PCN, to allow the sale of alcoholic beverages for off-premises consumption at an existing Target store located at 1330 East 17th Street. Staff is recommending the adoption of a resolution approving the CUP as conditioned. The site is located within the general plan land use designation as general commercial medium GC-1. The site's zoning classification is for a planned shopping center C4 zone. The surrounding land uses include commercial and single family residences to the north, single family residences to the east and south, and commercial to the west. The building is located on an 8-acre lot with the Target building taking over up to over 100,000 square feet. The site was developed in 1966 as a Lucky retail store, and in 1987, Target began operating. On January 25th, 2023, the applicant submitted the subject application to the Planning Division to allow the sale of alcohol beverages for off-premise consumption in order to provide an additional service to its customers and become a one-stop department store. Currently, Target operates 2 additional locations within Santa Ana. Those sites currently operate with an active Type 20 ABC license for off-premise sale of beer and wine. This is a site photo of the western elevations and main entrance for the existing Target building. This is the site plan of the subject property with 17th Street to the north. This is the floor plan as shown. The alcohol display will take up a small fraction of the floor space, 302 square feet, located a substantial distance away from the only entrance and exit of the building. This is an enlargement of the floor plan, illustrating the amount of shelving that the alcohol display will inhabit. Based on the analysis of the project, the Planning Division has found that the subject site is consistent with the goals and objectives found in the land use element of the general plan. It is located in a commercial zone, neighbors other commercial uses, and is not located in proximity to any parks, playgrounds, or schools. Approval of the CUP will allow Target to remain economically viable and compete with nearby stores offering the same type of goods. Target is a full-scale department store with a market section that offers a host of consumer as well as other staple goods. The sale of alcoholic beverages for off-premises consumption is consistent with operations of similar full-scale grocery stores. Target produces and implements corporate policies and procedures intended to prevent alcohol sales from developing into community nuisances, such as staff training on preventing theft and loss, as well as prevention of sale of individual containers. Furthermore, the Santa Ana Police Department is satisfied that the operational standards and conditions of approval will mitigate any potential impacts to the surrounding community and does not oppose the granting of this CUP. According to SAPD crime statistics, they found that within police grid number 224, it ranks 62 out of 102, which is the 60th percentile, well below the 20% threshold established by the state for high crime. Conditions of approval, property maintenance agreement, and standards in the Santa Ana Municipal Code will address any potential negative impacts. A PCN determination is required for this project because Target is located in census tract number 754.03, where the ratio of existing retail off-premises alcohol licenses to population in the census tract exceed the ratio of retail off-premises alcohol licenses to population in the county, resulting in an overconcentration as determined by ABC. ABC allows a maximum of 4 off-premises alcohol licenses for the census tract, and currently there are 4 active ABC licenses. The applicant is requesting that a 5th ABC license be approved. This is a local area map with the existing Target store in the middle and the 4 existing active ABC licenses in the subject census tract. I will now present the PCN findings. Although there are other establishments selling alcoholic beverages for off-premises consumption nearby, none of those establishments offer the same complete department store shopping opportunities as Target. The expansion of the market section will improve the overall functions of the business by enhancing the complete department store experience, allowing the store to remain economically viable, by allowing the subject property to provide the same Target goods along with over 95% of the existing Target stores in California that currently sell alcoholic beverages. This would grant community access to a full selection of items that grocery customers have come to expect. Operations standards, conditions of approval, and Target store policies will mitigate any potential detrimental effects should any arise by enforcing policies, protocols, and alcohol-related training initiatives to ensure that alcohol sales are handled in a responsible manner to deter crime, loitering, and any other activity that could be detrimental to the surrounding community. In accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, and the CEQA guidelines, the project is categorically exempt from further review. There's no physical impact associated with this action. Staff recommends the adoption of a resolution approving CUP number 2023-04 as condition and making a determination of public convenience or necessity. Secondly, staff recommends authorizing staff to issue a letter of public convenience or necessity to the State Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control. Thank you. And staff, as well as a representative from the applicant, is present, Beth Abalafia, all the way from Berkeley, California, and the Target store director are available to answer your outstanding questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. Does the commission have any questions of staff at this point?
Is there any other way to approve usage without calling it a public convenience or necessity?
Thank you, Commissioner. Public convenience and necessity is a term defined and regulated by the state of California. So it's not necessarily something in the local code, it applies statewide. And it's basically a fancy government way of basically saying that the commission is tasked with the responsibility of evaluating the CUP as well as a request that would be along with it for the PCN, the public convenience and necessity, that enables the city to send a letter to the state saying that for the reasons that the planning commission might make tonight, It is necessary and beneficial to the public and necessary for Target and the community to authorize this license. So it's basically a letter that sounds, it's basic public convenience and necessity stating what the commission would find as findings of approval tonight for the CUP.
And because it's a big box store, department store, and the other stores, sell it, they have shelf space like 17 in Bristol. We're making consistent for this one corporation. And there's existing 4 other operations like small, a liquor store and a grocery store. That's a liquor.
That's correct. And the map in the staff report packet and on the previous slide illustrated the point that you just made.
I just wish there was a different terminology. I just wish there was a different terminology. Because I don't think alcohol is necessary.
Thank you.
Anything else, Sean? Olivia. Chris. Annie?
Okay, thank you, Chair, or Vice Chair. So I guess for me, the only question becomes, to Commissioner Wu's point, I think we're emphasizing the convenience factor more than the necessity of an alcohol license here. Speaking for myself, I actually went to this Target thinking that it had an active alcohol license and it did not. So I can surely see the convenience in having Target sell alcohol. The question I have, though, is was there a case made by the applicant as to why they're applying for a type 21 versus a type 20 that they have in other locations?
That was not brought to my attention, but I think with kind of Beth has been doing this for about 20 years now. And 95% of the other existing Target stores have these licenses, one or the other. Like I said in the speech, other 2 in Santa Ana have beer and wine. They're looking to do the same with the type 21 as well. So this is just another consumer good added to the list that Target has and other existing Targets. And I think that's kind of why they want to have similar expectancy when it comes to consumer goods.
Right, but so with the type 21, we're looking at additional liquor sales rather than just beer and wine. So I just want to know so that, in theory, we accept this type 21 here, we would be looking potentially at a type 21 coming down for the other 2 Targets in here. Again, just speculative, but this would be a precedent and it's totally fine. I, in fact, totally support the sale of liquor. It's okay, I think. But I just wanted to kind of make sure as to why, the others don't have a type 21, were there previous findings in other instances where we were, as a city, more hesitant to issue liquor licenses and we had a general policy of not issuing liquor licenses. Now, it might be a little bit more history for Ollie. I know he's been doing this for a while.
Sadly, what I can share with you, Commissioner, and thank you for the question, is that sometimes restaurants, stores, anyone that qualifies for applying for a liquor license may at the time only be able to secure the more basic type, which is beer and wine, whether it's for on sale like a restaurant or off sale like a store. And then other times through the sort of lottery process or through what becomes available on the ABC market, they're able to secure the full license. So in the case of the previous 2 Targets, it may be that at the time they were only able to get their hands on the type 20s. Whereas in this instance, and I'd hate to speculate on behalf of the applicant, if you have anything to add, that's fine, but they may have been able to just get the type 21 from the get-go. In either scenario, going back to the other Targets, just as an example, their resolutions were specific such that they said beer and wine. So if they were to secure a type 21 on the ABC market, they'd still have to come back before this commission and request approval to upgrade those. Whereas in this case, they've already secured that. So the analysis that's been performed tonight was performed as if it's going to be beer, wine, and distilled spirits, all of them.
Okay, thank you for that. And I just wanted to again confirm that there was no community opposition, nothing received on this item.
There was one letter that was received and distributed via the electronic packet to the commissioners stating that the staff report didn't mention a Walgreens across 17th Street that has a liquor license. While staff is aware of that Walgreens having liquor, for the sake of the municipal code and the analysis that's required, it looks only at the census tract but in which this target is located, hence the boundary that was illustrated on that slide and in the packet. So again, that was evaluated, but it's not required to be analyzed because it's not in the same census tract.
Okay, thank you. That's it for me.
So Ali, does that mean that the four establishments that are active today, was the Walgreens in there or not in?
No.
It wasn't in there.
That's not included.
Okay,
Just across the street.
right. And the other four, they're all just beer and wine? Or there's alcohol too?
We'll pull up the map and with that information included, packet if they're beer and wine. So thank you, Vice Chair. The other four all have a type 21. As illustrated and noted on page 4 of the report, they all, the ones that are in the census tract can sell beer, wine, and distilled spirits.
Okay. Any other questions of staff at this time? Okay. Having said that, we'll open up the public hearing now. Does the applicant would the applicant like to say something?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Beth Abalafia. I'm here representing Target. The staff report was and presentation were very complete, and so I'll keep my comments brief unless there are questions. Target is requesting approval to be able to sell beer, wine, and distilled spirits for off-site consumption only. As part of its grocery department, it will be a very small portion of Target's overall product mix, will account for less than 1% of the sales floor area devoted to alcohol display, but it will complement the grocery section and provide a convenience for customers who want to be able to pick up alcoholic beverages along with groceries and other things that they're shopping for at Target. So we've had no community opposition. The police department has no concerns about approving the permit. And as you know, staff is recommending approval. So we would hope that the commission would approve the application. I'm happy to answer any questions. The store director for this Target store is also here with me. I will make just a couple quick comments in response to some of the comments from the commissioners. First, with respect to the terminology, public convenience and necessity, that's the terminology used in the state statute. So there's no way around it. I will say though, and it's easy to forget this, but the actual language is public convenience or necessity. So you don't have to find that alcohol sales are a necessity in order to meet the finding. And also with respect to the questions about why a type 21 license when the other stores have beer and wine only. Just a little history: when Target first started licensing its stores in California to sell alcoholic beverages, they were only applying for beer and wine licenses. And so for probably about 10 years or so, they were just licensing the stores for beer and wine. And then maybe about 10 years ago, Target changed its model somewhat to enhance its grocery section. And the grocery section became a much more significant component of the store's product mix, along with other big box general retailers sort of going in the same direction. And at that point, with the expansion of the grocery section, Target started going back and upgrading the licenses from beer and wine to offer the full complement of alcoholic beverages. And so we have, over the last many years, been going back and upgrading many of the stores from beer and wine only to full alcohol sales. Certainly all of the new Target stores have been licensed with type 21 licenses. And so at this point, I would say the vast majority of Target stores do have type 21 licenses and sell the full range of alcoholic beverage products. I'd be
Okay,
happy to answer any questions.
does any of the commissioners have a question of the applicant? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, Madam Secretary, have we received any written communication? Or is there a member in the public that would like to comment on this item at this time?
We have received one public comment prior to the 4 o'clock deadline. The comment has been distributed to the commission and has been posted on the website. If you are attending this meeting in person and would like to comment on this item, please fill out a request to speak form and turn it into the secretary. If you are participating via Zoom and would like to comment on this item, please select the hand icon and unmute yourself. If you are calling in and would like to comment on this item, please dial *9 and then *6 to unmute yourself. I will wait a few seconds. Chair, we do not have any speakers.
Okay, at this time, I will close the public hearing. And we'll bring it back to the commission for a vote. Any comments from the commission at this point in time on this item?
I would just like to make the motion,
Okay.
move for approval.
Make a motion?
I'll second
Okay,
for approval.
all right, so we have a motion from Azuri. And we have a second from Manny. Any other comments or questions at this time? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, please do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Leo,
Aye.
Commissioner Escamilla,
Aye.
Commissioner Ramos,
Aye.
Commissioner Olive. Commissioner Olivia,
Aye.
Commissioner Wu.
Aye.
Vice
Aye.
Chair McLaughlin.
Aye.
Motion approved by majority.
Okay. Thank you. That concludes our business calendar. Moving on to closing comments. Are there any staff member comments that we'd like to have at this point in time?
Thank you, Vice Chair. Just very briefly, 2 quick comments. Firstly, this afternoon, we sent an email to the commission members about the status of our progress in satisfying housing production goals. This was requested information from Commissioner Leo. So now that the housing element annual progress report has been submitted to the city council and then to the state, we were able to include a detailed description for the commission as well as a link to that packet in case you'd like to view more details. But the highlight is that the city is so far on track to have completed 52% of its RENA allocation within the first year and a half of the 8-year reporting period. So that's the first comment. Secondly, our colleague and recording secretary Nubio Campo couldn't be here this evening, but I'd just like to, as a friendly reminder, when the commissioners receive the agenda packet by email, feel free at that time, if it's convenient for you, to let Nubia know if you're attending the meeting this evening. You can either respond to the email or give a call or a text. It's totally fine. But it would help us know if we're reaching quorum ahead of time. So thank you, and that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Ali. Matthew, thank you for your presentation this evening.
Thank you as well.
Manny, any comments at this time?
Yeah, no, we have a nice short meeting, so I'm going to try to elaborate on my comments since our meeting is so short today. First of all, yeah, welcome to the team. This is awesome. So congrats on your first presentation here. And I guess just more in general to Ali, I guess major item that we completed over the last few years was the general plan update, but the follow-on kind of updates to zoning code. I'm just a little eager to kind of get that the zoning code edits done. I'm not sure if we're able to kind of get an update on the status of the zoning code updates. I, for one, have, let's just say about 30 suggestions just right off the top of my head that I would love to go over with staff to try to make some developments a little bit easier in the city. So I would look forward to bringing that to kind of an open forum. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Manny. Chris?
Yeah, two things. Thanks for the housing information. I noticed that the state amended their lawsuit against Huntington Beach today, so glad it's not us. Second thing, I had a question. What is, or maybe you can email us the Airbnb regulations for the city? I've noticed that the numbers have started to increase in Santa Ana. And I'm not sure that in some neighborhoods it's probably appropriate. So if you could get us that at least, so I can have a better understanding, because I know that one of my neighbors found out I was on the commission and came and asked me about it. But I've noticed that if you do a quick Airbnb search, there's like over 1,000 in Santa Ana, which on the Airbnb website, which seems to be a lot, but maybe it's just people trying to rent a room, which tends to be the norm. But I wanted to make sure that, you know, our regs are tight enough so we don't see a proliferation in certain neighborhoods just because of the marketplace. So thanks. That's my only comment.
Thank you, Chris. Olivia?
Just a quick comment. My name is Jennifer Oliva. So Jennifer, not Olivia. I know that's a common
Okay.
mistake. All good, but Jennifer Oliva. Thank you.
I just want to welcome our new staff. Thank you. And so I hope everyone has a good night.
Alan?
Gilroy was here. Welcome. I want to thank Nuvia for helping me take the ethic test, and in the process of doing that, it woke me up to a few things that to be careful about. Also, I want to thank Ali for helping me research the issue regarding the Japanese community garden and tea house. And I want to thank Manny for taking it over, because I handed it off back to you from the Japanese community. So for those that are not aware, the county is transferring the Japanese American garden and tea house over to the city of Santa Ana. There's going to be a transfer document and an agreement to assume it, right? But the Japanese community was concerned as to whether or not the city of Santa Ana, because they dealt with the county all this time, and the gift was to the county and people of the county, whether we would honor the maintenance and for perpetuity. And as much as any government agency, no matter how much I assured them that would happen, I think the community kind of felt that they needed to be a little more assured. At any rate, I think that it may come up back to us through a historic recognition of some sort, or through the historic committee. But I want to thank all the city, from the city manager to the department heads in Park and Rec, Public Works and Planning. They were all behind maintaining the community garden and tea house. There's a 100-year-old bonsai on that property tree. And it was a gift from the Japanese Americans as they came back from the incarceration. And it was a way of their saying, thank you for allowing us to come back into the community. And it holds a lot of meaning for the generation following the generation who suffered through the incarceration. So it has a very important meaning to the Japanese community. So I just want to bring that to the Planning Commission's attention, and to thank staff for your support.
Okay, thank you, Alan. One comment going back to Chris's comment about Airbnb. We had a series of meetings back, if I'm not mistaken, in the September timeframe, August, September, October timeframe, and there was a lot of discussion that was going on. Whatever happened to that whole situation? Because there's a couple of people here that came in and actually raised it as a non-agenda item for almost 3 or 4 meetings, but it then just disappeared.
Thank you, Vice Chair. We can certainly provide more details in an email update to the commission. And I'm reluctant to get into more detail for something that's not agendized, but I can share at a very high level that the city's zoning ordinance does not permit short-term rentals as a permissible use. So at this time as well, there's been no direction given to look into legalizing them. So it's status quo. ordinance hasn't changed, zoning ordinance remains as is, that short-term rentals are not a permissible use in
Right.
residential zones.
That was understood from our discussions, but at the same time, if you go by Chris's, number, I mean, 1,000 unapproved facilities is quite a big difference of maybe 10 or 20 versus 1,000 in the city.
I can share very generally speaking that subsequent to those meetings that you brought up in the fall, that I met with officials from surrounding cities,
Right?
as well as had sort of virtual meetings with monitoring software companies like Granicus and even Expedia. I learned that many times when local cities have prohibitions like Garden Grove, where their ordinances outright prohibit short-term rentals, that sometimes the listings will list the address of a neighboring city, and that once the listing is booked, then the true address is verified as being within that boundary. And that can be a way of evading a local ordinance's ban. So both officials from two of our neighboring cities, again, without getting into too much detail, but two neighboring cities actually confirmed that that's how many short-term rentals were able to evade their prohibitions. As Commissioner Leo also pointed out, renting out a single bedroom is also a popular means, or, these short-term rental platforms are a popular means of advertising a bedroom that may be available for rent, not necessarily an entire listing.
Do
Is there-
you know if, for instance, and I guess this would happen by neighborhood, if there is an non-permitted short-term rental that goes down the path of having parties and making neighborhood noise, would the police actually, would it be picked up in a police report? Like if it were short-term rental or just picked up because it's too loud, it's past the hours, and I don't know how it'd get picked up. I mean, I'm just wondering because we have established neighborhoods, right? You have families that live in these neighborhoods for decades.
Right.
One house turns, then three more turn just because someone can make some money off of this. It's probably not the route we want to go. So I'm just wondering how would we keep track of it if it were to pop up or do what you're saying, which is circumvent the prohibition which we have.
Thank you. I mean, as with any use that may be not permitted or any property maintenance issue, code enforcement is the first avenue for reporting. There's the My Santa Ana app, which can be used to take photos and submit detailed reports. In lieu of that, one can simply send an email or go online, but it would be code enforcement.
But I thought, again, one of the discussions that we had at the time was that there was two particular units in Park Santiago. One was great, nothing was going on, it was quiet, it was nicely handled. And then the one that was almost directly across the street was Animal House, 2023. And so it's like, how do we get control of that? And I would imagine, it's code enforcement that's going to go after the basis of this, but PD would get called out on a disturbance of any matter.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as with any situation that's creating like an imminent threat to health and safety, or any sort of noise situation, or sort of, disturbances, public intoxication, one can always call for the support from the Santa Ana Police Department. But if one suspects, on a more general scale, the ongoing operation of a short-term
Right.
rental, then code enforcement is also an option.
Right. So is this something we can ask for a update next meeting?
Absolutely.
Chairman Mark,
Vice Chair and Commissioner as well, I can certainly respect this is a topic of great interest. I'd have to caution against further discussion of this matter because
Yeah.
it's not agendized. So that's, I just want
That's
to
fair.
point out
That's
as a
fair.
friendly reminder.
But we can we can do the
I
ask.
would certainly limit to that, and then I would caution against any further substantive
That's fine.
discussion or questions.
That's fine. Understand.
along that line, I was wondering, there's a lot of issues bubbling up. And when you have those study sessions, I think they're, and we agendize them, it does help us to address it, give our feelings some direction to staff, and not do the legislative kind of work that the city council does. But we could come up with recommendation. So one area is the Airbnb, some of it is the open space discussion and
But now we
traffic
can't-
mitigation.
We just agreed we weren't going to go.
yeah, we're not going into, I was just
Let's put it
suggesting
to
that
bed.
they come up with some of these study area. Would it be proper for us to send you some ideas of areas that we need some discussion on?
Let's just let staff do the agenda.
Okay.
On the agenda and handle it that way. Are we good, John? Okay. All right. I have no other comments, so at this point in time, I'd like to propose that we adjourn to the next regularly scheduled meeting that will be held on Monday, April 24th, 2023 at 5:30 PM in the council chambers located at 22 Civic Center Plaza. Thank you and have a good evening.